I died choking on my own blood in the trunk of a car. My sister's boyfriend's hands wrapped around my throat just minutes before the crash that sealed my fate. Betrayed by the only family I thought I had left, I watched the world fade to black, whispering a curse that echoed into the void. I'll make you all pay.
Then,
Nothing, until the screech of tires yanked me back. Not to the afterlife, but to a morning 5 years earlier. My heart pounding in a body that wasn't supposed to breathe again. The first thing I felt was the scratchy wool of my old twin bed sheets against my skin. The kind that always smelled faintly of mothballs and regret. My eyes snapped open to the peeling wallpaper of my childhood bedroom in that godforsaken split-level house in suburban Ohio. The one with the leaky roof and the front yard that Dad never bothered to mow. Sunlight filtered through the threadbare curtains, casting stripes across the alarm clock blinking 7:15 a.m. It was June 12th, 2020, the day after my 25th birthday. The day before everything went to hell in my first life. I bolted upright,
gasping,
my hands flying to my neck, where bruises should have been blooming like ugly purple flowers. But there was nothing. Smooth skin. A pulse. Steady and strong. I stumbled to the mirror above my dresser, staring at the reflection of Iris Hale, me, but younger, softer around the edges, with none of the hollow exhaustion that had carved lines into my face by the end. Holy shit, I whispered, my voice cracking. It wasn't a dream. I'd done it. Reborn.
重生,
As those old Vietnamese ghost stories my mom used to scare me with called it. A second chance to claw my way out of the grave they'd dug for me. The memories flooded back in Technicolor horror. 20 years of being the invisible daughter in a family that worshipped at the altar of perfection. My sister, Lila, blonde, brilliant Lila, the golden child who could do no wrong. Valedictorian at 16. Recruited by Ivy Leagues. The one mom dressed in designer hand-me-downs while I scavenged thrift stores for jeans that didn't have holes in the knees. Dad's pride and joy. The one he'd coach through every soccer game. Every debate club triumph. While I sat in the bleachers with a dog-eared library book, pretending I didn't care that he forgot my name half the time. It wasn't just favoritism, it was erasure. By 18, I'd learned to fade into the walls, taking odd jobs to pay for community college while Lila jetted off to Yale on a full ride. I worked doubles at the diner, scraping by in a one-room apartment above a laundromat that reeked of bleach and broken dreams. Lila? She partied through her undergrad, landed an internship at some fancy PR firm in New York, and came home every Christmas with stories that made Mom's eyes sparkle like she'd birthed a celebrity. Then came Ethan. Lila's boyfriend, or so she called him. Charming Ethan with his trust fund smile and Wall Street ambitions. The kind of guy who quoted Hemingway at dinner parties but couldn't change a tire to save his life. I met him at one of those forced family Thanksgivings, where I was the butt of the jokes. The run of the litter, as Dad liked to say with a beer-fueled laugh. Ethan took one look at me and saw. What? Easy prey? A way to one-up Lila? He started texting me late at night. Innocent check-ins that turned into midnight confessions about how trapped he felt in their whirlwind romance. I was lonely. Stupid. By 25, I'd convinced myself it was love. We met in secret, in motel rooms off the interstate, in the back booth of that same diner after closing. He promised to leave her, to take me away from the rot of Ohio to some shiny life in the city. But secrets have a way of rotting from the inside out. Lila found out. Not from guilt on my end, no. From Ethan's carelessness. A lipstick stain on his collar that wasn't hers. What she did next. God. Even now, reborn and raging, it twists my gut. She didn't confront me. Didn't scream or slap or demand I pack my bags.
No.
Lila Hale was too smart for petty drama. She played the long game. The one that ended with me bundled into the trunk of Ethan's BMW. Duct tape over my mouth. His hands squeezing the life out of me as he drove us toward a quiet spot in the Hocking Hills. You think you can steal what's mine? He'd snarled. But it was her voice I heard in my head, her text to him that morning. End it. Make it look like an accident. Family first. The crash was mercy.
In a way.
We plummeted off a ravine, the car crumpling like tinfoil. Ethan died on impact. I lingered long enough to feel the firefighters pry open the wreckage, to hear Mom's wail on the news that night. Our baby girl, Lila, is devastated. Iris was troubled. We tried so hard. Troubled. That's what they called the black sheep who dared to dream of scraps from their table.
But now?
Now I was back. And this time, I wouldn't beg for love. I'd burn the whole damn house down around them. I spent the first day of my second life in a daze, mapping out the timeline like a battle plan. 5 years to the day until that fateful Thanksgiving. Plenty of time to unravel their perfect little lies, to dig up the skeletons they'd buried deeper than my body in that ravine. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a slow poison. And I had to play it smart. No wild accusations. No midnight confrontations. I'd be the ghost in their machine, smiling. Compliant Iris on the surface. While underneath, I sharpen my knives. First order of business, money. In my first life, I'd slaved away at dead-end jobs. Too proud or too scared to ask for help that never came. This time, I'd weaponized the one thing they couldn't ignore: wealth. I'd always had a weird knack for numbers, a gambler's intuition buried under years of self-doubt. Lotteries, stocks, crypto, whatever it took. I'd start small, build an empire, and watch their jaws drop when the prodigal daughter returned not as a beggar, but a queen. That afternoon, I drove my beat-up Civic, the same one that had rust spots like freckles, to the corner gas station. The kind with flickering neon signs and a clerk who I do like you might boost a Slim Jim. I bought a ticket for the Ohio Mega Millions, picking numbers that haunted my dreams: 7-14-23-36-42. The dates of every birthday they'd forgotten, mine for Lila's milestones. As I scratched off the instant games while pumping gas, my hands shook not from nerves, but from the electric certainty buzzing under my skin. This was fate's cruel joke, handing me the tools to dismantle them. Back home, Mom was in the kitchen, humming along to some oldie station while stirring spaghetti sauce that always tasted like canned regret. She was a petite woman, bird-boned and peroxide blonde, her laugh lines etched deeper from years of pretending our family wasn't fracturing. Iris.
Honey?
That you? She called, not looking up. Classic. Lila got eye contact. I got echoes. Yeah.
Ma.
I leaned in the doorway, forcing a smile that didn't reach my eyes. What's for dinner? She glanced over then, her gaze skimming me like I was a smudge on the window. Your favorite meatballs. Lila called. She's coming home this weekend. Isn't that exciting? Ethan's tagging along. Such a catch. My stomach lurched, but I swallowed the bile. Ethan. Not yet. 5 years early. He was still just a frat boy shadow in Lila's stories. Sounds great. I lied, grabbing an apple from the bowl. Can't wait to meet him. She beamed, oblivious. You'll love him. Smart as a whip. Just like your sister. I bit into the fruit, juice dripping down my chin like symbolic blood. Smart enough to kill for you, I thought. But aloud, I said, tell me about her latest conquest. Yale treating her right? We chatted, or rather, she monologued through dinner, Dad grunting approvals from behind his newspaper. He was a burly ex-auto worker, laid off in the '08 crash, now nursing grudges and Bud Lights. Lila's triumphs were his religion, my existence. A footnote. By the time I escaped to my room, the rage simmered low, a banked fire waiting for wind. That night, I lay awake, plotting. The buried secret, the one that made their betrayal cut deepest, wasn't just favoritism. It was the accident. The one they'd pinned on me when I was 12. Dad's truck, swerving off the road after one too many at the VFW hall, plowing into a family minivan. The other driver, a single mom named Carla Ruiz, died on scene. Her kids, orphaned and screaming, became the town's tragedy. Dad walked with a slap on the wrist, community service, a suspended license because Mom's family had pull with the judge, old money whispers that greased the wheels. But they needed a scapegoat.
Me.
Iris was playing with the radio, Dad told the cops, his voice thick with false tears. Distracted him. Poor kid. I was 12. For Christ's sake. Too young to fight back. Too loyal to call bullshit. They drilled it into me. Family protects family. So I took the heat. The whispers at school. The therapy sessions where counselors eyed me like a pint-sized monster. Lila? She got to be the empathetic sister, organizing fundraisers for the Ruiz kids, burnishing her halo while I withered in the shadows. That lie chained us all. It was why they could look the other way when Lila orchestrated my end. Blood was thicker, even if it was poisoned. Unravel that thread, and their perfect tapestry unraveled. But first, I needed leverage.
Power.
The kind that came from fat stacks in the bank. The next morning, I quit my waitressing gig with a text, family emergency. Sorry, and cashed in my savings on a bus ticket to Columbus. The state library there had free Wi-Fi and newspapers stacked like ancient scrolls. I buried myself in research, lottery odds, stock tips from the financial section, even a crash course in day trading from YouTube videos on a borrowed laptop. By week's end, I'd turned $50 into $200 on scratch-offs, then funneled it into meme stocks that were all the rage in 2020, GameStop, MC, the underdogs biting back at Wall Street fat cats. It felt like destiny, each one a middle finger to the universe that had screwed me once. I rented a cheap studio in the Short North Arts District, the kind of place with exposed brick and roaches the size of quarters. But it was mine. No more folding into the family fold. Letters home were sparse. Sugar-coated updates. Settling in? Love you. Mom replied with forwards of Lila's emails. Look, your sister's article in the Yale Daily. Proud of her.
Proud.
The word festered. By fall, my portfolio had ballooned to 5 figures, riding the pandemic waves like a surfer on steroids. Remote work boomed. I pivoted to freelance coding, a skill I'd half-assed in my first life, but now devoured like vengeance incarnate. Nights blurred into code sprints and chart binges, my eyes bloodshot but alive with purpose. Lila visited once that winter, sweeping in like a blizzard of Chanel no. 5 and condescension. We met at a Starbucks near my place, neutral ground. She insisted. She was 24 then, all sharp cheekbones and sharper wit. Her Yale sweater screaming privilege. Iris, this city's eating you alive, she said, sipping her latte with a pitying smile. Come home. Mom's worried. I stirred my black coffee, watching the steam curl like ghosts. Worried? About me? That's new. She laughed, light and tinkling, the sound that always made me feel small. Don't be dramatic. We're family. Ethan's great. By the way, you'll meet him soon. He's interning at Goldman, top of his class. Ethan. The name landed like a gut punch, but I schooled my face to boredom. Sounds perfect for you. Listen, Lila, I've got a good thing here. No drama. Her eyes narrowed. Just a fraction, the first crack in the facade. She could smell change. Like a shark scents blood. You're different. What's going on? I leaned in, voice low and honeyed. Just growing up.
Cease.
You'll see. She left with their kisses and a vague promise to visit again. But I knew better. Lila didn't do loose ends. She'd poke, prod, until she found the rot. Fine by me. Let her dig. I'd bury her in it. Spring brought my first big score, a stock tip from a Reddit thread that exploded overnight. 20 grand in, 200 out. I bought a condo in German Village. All exposed beams and gardens on the balcony. No more roaches, just quiet luxury. The kind that whispered I've made it every time I walk through the door. I started dressing the part. Tailored blazers over band tees. Boots that clicked with authority on cobblestone streets. Family calls grew strained. Mom's voice on the line. Iris. Honey. When are you coming home? Lila's graduation is in May. Yale Law. Can you believe it? Disbelief? No. Expectation. The Hale way. Lila soared. I scraped. I'll try, I'd say. Then hang up and wire anonymous donations to the Ruiz Family Scholarship Fund. Small stabs. But they felt good. Carla's kids were in college now. Building lives I'd help shatter. Redemption? Maybe. Or just balancing the scales before I tipped them over. By summer 2021, I was a ghost investor, my net worth kissing 7 figures. Whispers in online forums called me a diamond in the rough, but I stayed anonymous. A shadow puppeteer pulling strings from afar. That's when I decided to bait the hook. A casual Facebook post. Big news soon. Stay tuned.
Fam. Blessed.
The likes trickled in cousins, old high school nobodies. Then Mom's comment. So proud.
Sweetie. Tell us more. Sweetie.
The word was arsenic. I let it simmer, watching the notifications pile up, like kindling. The real fun began when I crossed paths with Ethan, not by accident.
But design.
I tracked him through Lila's Insta stories, summer in the Hamptons. Yacht parties with influencers who looked like they'd been photoshopped into existence. But he was back in Ohio for a wedding. Some frat brother tying the knot in Cleveland. I crashed it. Black dress hugging curves I'd earned through gym sessions fueled by hate. Hair swept up to expose the neck he'd one day bruise. He spotted me across the ballroom, mid-laugh with a groomsman. His eyes lit. Recognition? No. Just that predatory gleam. Iris? Lila's sister? He sauntered over. Scotch in hand. Cologne cutting through the floral haze. In the flesh. I extended a hand. Nails painted blood red. Heard so much about you. All good. I hope. His grip lingered.
Testing.
We danced slow. Loaded circles under chandeliers that dripped light like honeyed lies. He talked big. Mergers. Acquisitions. The American dream gift-wrapped for boys like him. I nodded. Laughed at the right beats. Let my fingers brush his arm. By night's end, we exchanged numbers. For Lila's sake, he winked. For my sake, I thought, pocketing the bait. The affair started slow, texts escalating from polite to profane. Missed you at the wedding. He'd send at 2 a.m. I'd reply with a selfie from my balcony. City lights framing me like a siren. Come see for yourself.
He did.
Sneaking away from business trips to my bed, where silk sheets tangled with sweat and secrets. This time, I controlled the narrative. No desperate pleas. No illusions of forever. He was a tool, sharp and disposable. Through pillow talk, I gleaned the dirt. His daddy's slush fund at the firm. Insider trades that skirted the law, Lila's ambitions. Her clawing for partnerships that demanded dirty hands. She's ruthless, he murmured once, tracing my spine. Wants it all. So do I. I whispered back, filing it away. But power corrupts, even the Avenger. By fall, the thrill edged into something darker. I leaked a tip to a financial blogger anonymous. Of course, about Ethan's firm's shady dealings. Stocks dipped, panic rippled. He called me frantic. Iris, you hear about this? It's bullshit. Sounds stressful. I cooed over the phone, lounging in a bubble bath. Need a distraction? He came running. Every time. Lila suspected nothing, or so she thought. Her text to me sharpened. What's with the radio silence? Ethan says you're busy.
Spill.
Just living my best life. I'd fire back, attaching a photo of my latest acquisition, a vintage Mustang. Cherry red and roaring. Jealousy is a slow burn, but it ignites fast. Christmas 2022. They descended en masse, Mom.
Dad.
Lila. Ethan in tow. My condo became ground zero. Fairy lights twinkling over fault lines. Dinner was a minefield, turkey carved with passive-aggressive precision, wine flowing like accusations. You're doing what now? Dad barked when I mentioned my investments. Lotteries and apps. That's gambling. Iris. Real works in the factory. Not fairy tales. Lila smirked over her mashed potatoes. Let her dream.
Dad.
Not everyone's cut out for the grind. Ethan's foot nudged mine under the table, a secret signal amid the storm. I pressed back, then pulled away. Actually, I said, voice steady as steel. I've got something to share. The room hushed. I pulled out my phone, opened the banking app. 8 figures stared back, cold and unblinking. I hit the Mega Millions last month. Anonymously, of course. But yeah, I'm set. Silence, thick as fog. Mom's fork clattered. Dad's face purpled. Lila's eyes, oh. Those eyes, flashed with something feral, quickly masked by a squeal. Iris. Oh my God.
That's
huge. Ethan just stared.
Calculating.
Then the call came. Not from them, but from the lottery office confirming the win. No, wait. That was later. In the moment, they swarmed me, hugs that felt like shackles, questions tumbling like debris. How much? What will you do? We always knew you had it in you.
Lies.
All of it. But I let them cling. Let Mom sob into my shoulder about, finally, our girl. Dad clapped my back, muttering about making up for lost time. Lila pulled me aside in the kitchen, her grip on my arm bruising. This changes everything, she hissed. Don't fuck it up. Wouldn't dream of it, I replied, smiling through the venom. That night, as they slept in guest rooms I'd grudgingly offered, I slipped into my study. Laptop open. I initiated the first wire, $500,000 to a private investigator in New York. Target, the Ruiz case files. Sealed but not forgotten. Dig deep, I typed. Find the proof Dad's truck had been tampered with. No.
Wait.
The twist I'd uncovered in my first life. Too late. It wasn't just drunk driving. Mom had known. She'd spiked his flask that night, a favor to push him toward AA after one too many blackouts. But the crash? Collateral. And the cover-up? Her idea. To protect the family name. Lila, even then a teen, had vouched for the lie. Iris was fiddling with the dials. Blood on all their hands. My hands,
too,
for carrying it so long. The PI's report landed in January 2023. A PDF bomb of depositions and dashcam stills. Proof. Dad's blood alcohol was half what they claimed. The distraction story crumbled under scrutiny. Carla Ruiz's family had sued, but the judge, Mom's cousin, squashed it. I read it in bed. Ethan's arm slung over me like dead weight. He stirred. Everything okay? Perfect, I murmured, deleting the file. Not yet. Let it fester. Spring brought escalation. Lila proposed to Ethan at a vineyard in Napa. Instagram gold. All rose gold rings and tearful toasts. She called me the day after. Be my maid of honor? Please. Iris. Family. The word dripped irony. I'd be honored, I said, already envisioning the bouquet as a noose. Wedding planning became my infiltration. Showers in the city. Tastings in the countryside. I inserted myself like a virus. Charming vendors. Eavesdropping on whispers. Ethan and I continued our tango. Stolen moments in coat closets and hotel bars. Lila's obsessed with perfection, he'd complain, nipping at my neck. It's exhausting. Wait till you see mine. I'd think, guiding his hands lower. But cracks formed. Mom cornered me at a dress fitting. You're too thin, Iris. And that money, it's changing you. Come home more. We miss the old you. The old me was broken, I snapped. The first real slip. Her face crumpled. But I didn't care. The poison was spreading. The bachelor party leak was my masterstroke. Ethan's boys. Sloppy with bourbon. Spilled on a forum, insider trades. Hookers on the company dime. I amplified it, bots. Fake accounts. A whisper campaign that hit the SEC's radar by June. Goldman Sachs stock tanked. Ethan was relieved of duties, pending investigation. Lila's calls turned shrill. What the hell is going on? He's innocent. So was I. I wanted to scream. Instead, pray for him.
Sis.
God helps those who help themselves. The wedding imploded in August. Called off in a flurry of NDAs and teary voicemails. Lila showed up on my doorstep at midnight. Mascara streaked and shaking.
He cheated.
With you.
Didn't he?
I opened the door wider, gesturing to the wine rack. Red or white. We drank till dawn. Her rage spilling like the Merlot. I knew it. From the start. You're poison, Iris. Always have been.
Pot. Kettle. I toasted.
Remember the accident? When you lied for Dad. Her glass froze midair.
What?
You heard me. I know everything. The flask. The judge. Your little testimony. Carla Ruiz had a life. Lila.
Kids.
And we let Dad walk because family. She laughed. Brittle as glass. You're delusional. That was ages ago. Water under the bridge. Not for her family. Not for me. I leaned in, voice ablade. Call off the wedding? Fine. But Ethan's done. And soon. So are you. She left at sunrise. Tires screeching like banshees. I changed the locks that afternoon. Fall 2023. The counterattack. Dad's old union buddies started getting letters, certified mail, detailing the crash cover-up with attachments. Tell your story, they read. Or I will. Mom called. Hysterical. What are you doing? This could ruin us. Good, I said. Ruined feels familiar. Lila went nuclear. Lawsuits threatened. Private eyes on my tail. But money buys better shadows. I countersued for defamation, citing emotional distress from years of neglect, therapist notes from my first life, forged just enough to sting. Ethan vanished into witness protection light, spilling to prosecutors for leniency. His testimony? Lila's fingerprints on forged documents, pushing him toward creative accounting to fund her lifestyle. The climax hit in December, 5 years to the day of my first death. A family summit, demanded by Mom at a neutral Olive Garden, booths and breadsticks, the American way to air dirty laundry. They filed in like defendants, Dad hulking and hangdog, Mom wringing her napkin, Lila glacial in pearls. Iris, Mom started, voice warbling. We love you. Always have.
This.
Madness has to stop. Love, I echoed, sliding a folder across the table. PI report, redacted for the faint of heart. This is love, covering up a death. Letting a kid take the fall? Favoring one daughter till she snaps. Dad growled. Ancient history. You were a wild child. Wild? I was 12. My voice rose. Heads turning from nearby tables. And Lila? She greenlit my murder. Texted Ethan to handle it. I saw it. Before the crash. Ring any bells? Lila's face drained of color.
Lies.
You're unhinged. That money's rotted your brain. Prove it. I tap my phone. Playing a recording. Ethan's voice. Slurred from our last tryst. Lila said do it. Family first. Just like the accident.
Gasps.
Accusations flew like shrapnel. Dad lunged, Mom wailed. Lila bolted for the door. But security, my hire, escorted her back.
See, you commended.
We're ending this. The twist, as they crumbled, confessions tumbling, I felt empty. Not triumph, but the hollow echo of a girl who'd chased ghosts. I don't want your apologies, I said finally, voice steady. I want justice. For Carla. For me. Cops arrived by dessert, tipped by my earlier call. Arrests followed, manslaughter reopened, fraud charges for Lila and Ethan, obstruction for Mom and Dad. The papers ate it up. Lottery heiress exposes family secrets, from favored to fallen. They called from jail.
Sobbing.
Mom first. Iris.
Please.
Bail us out. We're sorry, so sorry. I listened to the pleas. The shock turning to shards. 20 years too late, I whispered, hanging up. In the end, it wasn't happy or tragic, just real. I funded the Ruiz Scholarship full-time. Watched Carla's kids graduate with degrees in social work and engineering. Lila got 5 years. Probation for the rest. She writes self-help books from a halfway house now. All about forgiveness. Dad sobers up in AA. Ironic as hell. Mom? She fades into assisted living. Sending birthday cards I don't open.
Me?
I drive that Mustang cross-country. Wind in my hair.
No rearview obsessions.
Reborn. Not unbroken, but free. The lottery wasn't luck. It was the universe's wry nod. You win some. You lose the family. Choose wisely. And for the first time, I did. The fallout from that Olive Garden showdown rippled like a stone in a pond. But in the quiet aftermath, I found myself adrift in the very luxury I'd clawed for. My condo, once a fortress of solitude, now echoed with the ghosts of what-ifs. I'd won the war. Sure, headlines screamed my name from Cleveland to Columbus, painting me as the vengeful whistleblower who'd toppled a dynasty of deceit. But victory tasted like ash, and sleep came in fits, haunted by the trunk's claustrophobic dark. Ethan's grip a phantom on my throat. It was February 2024 when the first crack in my armor showed. A letter arrived, forwarded from the old family address, postmarked from a women's correctional facility in Marysville. Lila's handwriting, that loopy cursive she'd perfected in Catholic school, slanted across the envelope like a plea. I stared at it for an hour, coffee growing cold on the granite counter, before slitting it open. Dearest Iris,
I know you hate me.
God, I hate me too. These walls strip you bare, make you confront the monster in the mirror. I was that monster, jealous, entitled, raised on a pedestal that poisoned me. The accident? I was 15, scared shitless of losing Dad's light. Lying seemed easier than truth. And you? You were always the strong one, the one who could take it. I told myself that for years. Ethan was my cage, my ticket to the top. When I found out about you too, it wasn't betrayal, it was confirmation. You were taking what was mine. Again. So I lashed out, in ways I'm ashamed to confess even now. The texts, the plan. I thought it'd fix everything. Make us even. But all it did was bury us deeper. Forgive me? Probably not. But understand, I was broken long before you came back stronger. Right if you can. Or don't. Just know I'm trying to be better. For the sister I wish I'd been. Love, if you'll have it. Lila.
Love.
The word mocked me. A cheap parlor trick from a woman who'd orchestrated my end. I crumpled the letter, but didn't burn it. Instead, I filed it away in a drawer with the PI reports, a relic of the war. Forgiveness? Not in my vocabulary. But curiosity? That snake coiled tight. Spring thawed Ohio's gray grip, and with it came opportunities I'd never chased in my first life. I invested in startups, women-led ventures in tech and green energy, pouring millions into apps that connected domestic violence survivors with safe houses, scholarships for kids from fractured homes, board meetings in sleek downtown lofts. My name on plaques, Iris Hale, angel investor. The press loved it, from lottery lightning to philanthropy powerhouse. But power's a double-edged sword, And mine drew blood in unexpected ways. At a gala in Cincinnati, black ties and bourbon, the elite rubbing elbows over climate change charades, I locked eyes with him across the ballroom. Not Ethan. Vanished into federal purgatory. No. Worse, Judge Harlan Whitaker. Mom's cousin. The silver-haired fox who'd sealed the Ruiz case with a gavel of graft. He approached with a flute of champagne, his smile all Southern charm despite the Midwest drawl. MS.
Hale.
Your work's inspiring. Heard about the family. Unpleasantness. Unpleasant. I sipped my drink. Bubbles sharp on my tongue. Try criminal. He chuckled. Low and avuncular. Water under the bridge. Families fight. It's human. Not when it covers up murder. My voice was silk over steel. Conversations hushed nearby. Power recognizes power. His eyes flickered, wary now. Ancient history. Statutes run. Not if new evidence emerges. I handed him a USB drive. Small as a promise. Watch it. Then decide if bridges are worth burning. The drive held dashcam footage. Unearthed by my PI. The truck swerve. No radio static. Just Dad's hand steady on the wheel till the spiked flask kicked in. Harlan pocketed it without a word, but I saw the sweat bead on his collar. Checkmate. Old man. That night, driving home through rain-slicked highways, I pulled over at a rest stop, the kind with buzzing fluorescents and vending machines stocked with regrets. Tears came then, hot and unbidden, not for them, but for the girl I'd been, the one who'd believed family was fortress, not prison. Rebirth hadn't erased the scars, it had just relocated them, from neck to heart. Lila's letters kept coming, monthly missives that built like a Jenga tower. She wrote of prison yoga, of counseling sessions where she unpacked the favoritism like a festering wound. Mom always said you were the spare, like royalty. I bought it. Let it make me queen. Details trickled. Dad's rages. Mom's affairs to cope. The accident as the big bang of our dysfunction. I didn't reply, but I read. Each one chipped at the ice around my chest, thawing what I'd frozen solid. By summer, I visited against every instinct screaming trap. Marysville was a squat brick beast. Chain-link fences topped with razor wire under a sky too blue for incarceration. The visiting rooms smelled of bleach and despair. Plexiglass dividing us like original sin. Lila looked smaller, stripped of makeup and malice, her hair chopped to a practical bob. You came, she breathed, picking up the phone with trembling hands. Don't get used to it. I leaned in, studying the lines etched around her eyes. Our eyes. Same hazel flecked with gold. Why the letters? Guilt trip? Honesty. She swallowed. Therapy's kicking my ass. Made me see. I hated you because you survived. Without them. Without me. You were free in ways I never was. Free? I died. Lila. The words hung. Raw and real. She flinched. I know. Every night. I replay it. If I could trade. But you can't. I paused, the plexiglass cool against my palm. What do you want? A sister. Not absolution.
Just. Time.
When I get out in 18 months. Parole pending good behavior. I nodded. Non-committal. We'll see. Driving back. The highway blurred through tears again. Not weakness, catharsis. The revenge I'd plotted in that reborn dawn had been a bandage. This was surgery. Ethan resurfaced in September. A ghost email from a burner account. Her to the queen now. Lila's rotting. Family's dust. Deserve a piece?
Meet me.
Miami. Neutral. Deserve. The arrogance curdled my blood. But intel was intel. I flew private, perks of the win, landing in South Beach's neon haze, where palm trees swayed like strippers and the air hummed with excess. He waited at a beachfront bar, tanned and twitchy, a far cry from the golden boy. Iris. He stood, awkward hug offered and rebuffed. You look powerful. Save it. I slid onto a stool, ordering tequila neat. What do you have? Everything. A flash drive. Bulkier than Harlan's. Lila's side hustle. Blackmailing interns for rec letters. Fudging resumes. Mom's emails to the judge.
Quid pro quo.
Even Dad's union kickbacks. Post-layoff slush. I plugged it into my phone under the table. Scanning files.
Goldmine.
Why me? Snitch for leniency. He shrugged, eyes darting to the waves. Figured you'd pay. Or pity me. We had something. Something? Laughter barked out.
Sharp.
You choked me to death in a trunk.
Ethan.
For her. His face crumpled. Genuine? I didn't want to.
She
said it'd be quick. Accident. Liar. But the files checked out. I wired him 10 grand. Hush money. Not heart. Disappear. Again.
He did.
Melting into the night. I stayed till dawn. Sand between toes. Plotting the endgame. Back in Ohio. Autumn leaves carpeted the streets like confetti for the damned. Mom's health tanked, stress-induced heart flutters landing her in the ICU. Dad called from his AA meeting. She's asking for you.
Kid.
Please.
Kid.
After everything. I went. The hospital a sterile maze of beeps and regret. Mom lay pale against pillows. IVs snaking like veins of truth serum. Iris, she rasped, hand outstretched. My girl. I took it. Bones fragile as bird wings.
Why? Ma.
The lies. The favoritism. Was I ever enough? Tears tracked her cheeks. You were too much. Independent. Even as a baby. Lila.
She needed me.
Clung like ivy. I poured everything there. Forgot you could stand alone. A cough racked her. The flask that night, I thought it'd help him see. Not hurt anyone. Then Carla. God. The guilt. And pinning it on me? Weakness. Her grip tightened. Forgive an old fool. I stayed till she slept. No promises made. Outside. Rain lashed the parking lot, mirroring the storm inside. The decisions grew controversial then, leaks to the press. Timed like bombs. Harlan resigned amid personal matters. The USB's contents splashed across the plain dealer. Ruiz family sued anew. Civil this time. I bankrolled their lawyers. Watching settlements soar into millions. Dad testified. Voice cracking on the stand. I was blind. Drunk on denial. Lila's parole hearing loomed in November. I wrote the letter, not forgiveness. But fact, she's owned her shit. Let her rebuild. Controversial? Hell yes. Victims' advocates held online. Blood money buys mercy? But justice isn't black and white. It's the gray where humans fester. She got out early December. A free woman in a world that remembered her sins. First stop, my door, duffel in hand, eyes downcast. Can I crash? Till I find work? Against sanity. I said yes. The condo became a tense truce, her on the couch. Me and the master. Silence is broken by takeout and true crime docs. Nights. We'd talk. The accidents ripple. Ethan's betrayal. Mom's decline. You saved me, she said once. Over pizza crusts. In there, I thought of you not as enemy, but anchor. Still deciding if you're worth saving, I replied, but softer. Christmas came quiet, no tree. Just lights on the balcony overlooking snow-dusted Columbus. Mom stabilized. Discharged to a facility with a view. Dad visited. Sober and subdued. Bringing pie from the diner where I'd once slung hash. Proud of you both, he mumbled. The words foreign on his tongue. The twist deepened in the new year. A pregnancy test. 2 pink lines, Lila's. From a prison fling she dismissed as folly. Keep it, she asked. Terrified. My hand on her shoulder. Together? She nodded. And in that moment, revenge's embers cooled to something warmer, not absolution, but alliance. But shadows linger. Ethan's drive? It held one more file, my birth certificate, altered. Mom's affair. Dad, not my father, explaining the distance, the favoritism's cruel math. Lila's half-sister.
Truly.
The secret she'd buried deepest.
I confronted her over coffee.
Steam rising like unspoken accusations. Why hide it? Fear. Tears welled. Of losing you more. We burned it that night. Ashes in the wind. Some secrets die quiet. By spring 2025, the family rebuilt not whole, but welded. Mom's good days brought laughter over FaceTime. Dad coached Little League for at-risk kids. Redemption in cleats. Lila birthed a boy. Named him Ruiz Hale, a nod to the past reclaimed.
Me?
I drive on. Mustang purring. Lottery ticket framed as talisman. Reborn twice. Once in death. Once in grace. The call that started it all. Mom sobbed from the hospital. We were wrong. Come back. I did. On my terms. And in the end, the real win wasn't the money or the fall. It was choosing to rise above the grave they dug. Summer 2025 baked Ohio in a relentless haze. The kind that turned asphalt to tar and tempers to tinder. My life, once a solitary blaze, now flickered with uninvited warmth, Lila and baby Ruiz crashing my idol like a summer squall. The condo, expanded with a nursery wing courtesy of my endless coffers, hummed with cries and coos. A far cry from the vengeful silence I'd cultivated. Diaper changes at dawn. Storytime at dusk. I, the auntie by default, found myself humming lullabies I'd never learned, the notes rusty but real. It should have been peace. This patchwork family forged in fire. But peace is a lie for the reborn. It's just the lull before the next storm. The whispers started small. Tabloid trolls dredging the old headlines. Eris's half-sister hoax. Is the baby Hale's bastard bargain? Forums buzzed with speculation. Was I buying loyalty with luxury? Had the revenge arc curved into codependence? I ignored it, diving deeper into philanthropy. The Iris Hale Foundation launched with fanfare, a $50 million endowment for wrongful conviction appeals. Starting with Carla Ruiz's case retroactively filed. Galas in D.C. Keynotes at TEDx knockoffs. Me in power suits. Voice steady as I recounted the crash not as victim, but architect of change. Family isn't blood, I'd say, eyes locking on the crowd. It's the choices we make when the bleeding starts. Lila thrived in the chaos, enrolling in night classes for social work. Her prison ink, a phoenix on her wrist, a badge of battles won. "You're my hero," she'd say, passing Ruiz a bottle while I balanced spreadsheets.
Hero.
The word chafed. A crown of thorns disguised as laurels. Ethan's shadow loomed longest.
Though.
His disappearance hadn't been clean. Rumors placed him in the Caymans, laundering what was left of his trust fund through crypto scams. In July, I encrypted email pinged my inbox. "Miss me? Got dirt that'll bury you both. $5 million. Or the world sees the full tape. Your screams in the trunk." Lila's voice on speaker. "Finish it." Ice water in my veins. The tape, evidence I'd thought destroyed in the crash.
How?
A dashcam from Ethan's car. Perhaps rigged as insurance. My hands shook as I forwarded it to my cybersecurity team. XNSA types on retainer. "Trace it," I ordered. "And stall." The reply came swift. "Clock's ticking.
Love.
Wire to this account. Or watch your empire burn." Lila found me in the study, face buried in hands. "What's wrong?" I showed her. Her color drained, Ruiz forgotten in his crib. "That bastard." He recorded. "Seems so." I paced, boots thudding on Persian rugs. "Pay or play?" "Fight." Her jaw set, the old steel gleaming. "We end him this time. For real." The decision was controversial from the jump. Hiring fixers, the kind who operated in shadows deeper than mine. No cops. This was personal. A coda to the symphony of sins. My team traced the IP to a dive bar in Nassau. Ethan holed up with a burner phone and bad decisions. "Neutralize," I whispered into a secure line, the word tasting like ash. Neutralize. Not kill, disrupt, destroy his life anew. But lines blur in the dark. They moved fast, drained accounts, planted evidence of fresh fraud, a tip to Bahamian authorities. Ethan called once, voice slurred with rum and rage. "You bitch. This is war." "War's over," I said, hanging up as sirens wailed in the background. Arrested for embezzlement. Extradition pending. The tape? Seized. Scrubbed from servers worldwide.
Gone.
But victory's echo hollowed me. That night, Ruiz fussed with colic. Lila exhausted on the couch. I rocked him, tiny fists clutching my shirt, and wept, not for Ethan, but for the killer I'd become. Rebirth promised revenge. Not this recursive cycle of harm. Mom's decline accelerated in August. A stroke stealing her words, but not her wit. She communicated in blinks now. Morse code for sorry. Dad visited daily, reading her the sports page like penance. "She's fighting," he'd tell me over coffee in the facility's cafeteria. Styrofoam cups steaming. "Like you taught us."
Taught.
From the student to the sensei, roles reversed in the cruelest poetry. I hired the best neurologists, funded trials. But science bends slow. One lucid evening, she gripped my hand, eyes clear, proud. "Iris. Love." 2 words. A lifetime late. I nodded, throat tight. "Love you too."
Ma.
Lila and I clashed then over boundaries, over Ruiz's future. "You're smothering him," she snapped during a midnight bottle run. "Just like they did me." "And you're leaning too hard," I fired back. Using me as your parachute. The fight escalated. Words as weapons. Her calling me cold. Me labeling her parasite. Doors slammed. Ruiz wailed. In the morning, she packed a bag. I need space. To stand alone. Take the apartment downtown, I said, key in hand. But don't ghost. She hugged me fierce. Never again. Alone again. The condo echoed louder. A cavern of choices. The foundation boomed, cases overturned, families reunited, but board members murmured, too aggressive. Too personal. Controversial decisions piled. I greenlit a podcast series, Buried Truths, narrating the Hale saga unfiltered. Listeners devoured it, but critics howled, exploiting trauma for clicks. Dad's redemption arc peaked in September. A union rally where he spoke against corruption. Voice booming. I was the bad guy once. Don't be me. Cheers erupted. I watched from the crowd. Anonymous in shades. Pride mingling with pity. The real twist unraveled in October. A DNA test prompted by a Ruiz family reunion invite. I'd funded their annual picnic. A gesture long overdue. Carla's eldest, now a lawyer named Maria, pulled me aside amid barbecue smoke. You don't have to hide, Iris. We know.
No?
My heart stuttered. The accident. We forgave long ago.
But you.
Your family, too. She handed me a faded photo. Baby Iris in Carla's arms. A daycare snapshot from before the crash. Mom had enrolled me there. A rare act of care. But the eyes, Maria's eyes. Hazel-flecked, mirrored mine. What? Dad, our dad, was the handyman at your folks' place. Mom's affair. Your half-sister to us all. The world tilted. Not just Lila's secret, but a web spanning graves. Carla's death? Not random. Fate's ironic knot. Binding betrayer and betrayed in blood. I laughed, manic, as rain pattered the pavilion. Holy shit. Maria hugged me. Welcome home. The revelation reframed everything. My erasure, not rejection, but projection of Mom's guilt. Dad's distance? Suspicion confirmed. Lila? Unwitting pawn in a larger lie. I told her over wine that night, her face crumpling into sobs. We're all bastards.
Huh.
Figuratively.
Yeah.
We toasted to truths unearthed, Ruiz gurgling in his high chair like applause. Mom passed in November, peaceful in sleep, the monitors flatlining to birdsong outside her window. The funeral was small, us Hales and Ruizes mingled, a tapestry torn and rewoven. Eulogies flowed, Dad's choked, Lila's poised, mine raw. She was flawed as fuck, but she tried at the end. That's more than most. Winter settled. Snow blanketing sins. Ethan pled out 10 years federal. No tape surfacing. The foundation hit $1 billion in assets. My face on Forbes, the reborn philanthropist. But the ending? No tidy bow. Lila and I, sisters still. Scarred but stitched. Dad grays gracefully. Coaching Ruiz in t-ball. The Ruizes? Extended family now. Holidays a chaotic blend of tamales and turkey.
Me?
I drive that Mustang into sunsets. Lottery ticket tucked in the glove box. Reincarnation gave me revenge. Life. The grace to let it go. The call that haunts? Not Mom's sob, but my own whisper in the trunk. Pay. Paid in full. And in the quiet, I breathe free.